Hello and welcome to the Ferret Business Podcast. I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, aka Yemmy, aka DJ Yemmy. And with me today on the podcast, I have a Let's Player. But he's not just any Let's Player. This guy plays exclusively Oculus VR games. That's right, it's Eric for President. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you inviting me.
All of your links will be down in the description below. So, hey guys, make sure you check them out. YouTube and Twitter. Eric, how are you today?
Fantastic. Start of the weekend. How are you doing, though? That's more important.
I'm doing good. Yeah, weekend's starting up. It was a grueling week of work. But here we are, ready to go on the Fair Business Podcast. So, Eric, first question for today. The name Eric for President, where'd that come from? Was it an inside joke, or is it just something you thought of off the top of your head?
Oh, man. That was a little bit off the top, a little bit of late night inebriation, but I like the leader position. I like inspiring as much as I can, and it seemed like a good fit because it seems like a lot of people just want a little help, and it was a fun little thought at the time, and it seems to have caught on.
So why not like President Eric or something like that? Because when it's Eric for president, that means you're running for president, right? It's like you want people to get behind you, vote for you, stuff like that. Why run for president instead of being president?
I think I got to earn it first. I think that's the big thing. Who knows? I might be able to change his name down the road, but I got a couple people I'm eyeing that I want to beat, and at that time we might make the change.
At 1 million subscribers, you will become president, right?
Changing the name.
Were there any other names circling around in your head before starting the channel?
Way too much research on stuff. I like to overanalyze sometimes, and I was looking at all the podcast or the channels out there, kind of seeing what was taken, and as much as I'd like to just put VR in the title, to me, something that was unique, something that if someone typed it in, everyone knew who it was. It wasn't some random VR channel. So I wanted to be the center of attention. So I thought that was a good way to do it. Just put my name right in there and exactly what I wanted to be.
There's not that many VR channels out there, that are big at least. You're like the first Oculus VR centered channel that I've seen in a while. I mean, I've seen people play it like Max Mofo when he does like random games on his channel, but like you're the first like VR centered game channel that I've found, and I mean, really, it's really great. The way you set up your videos and stuff like that, it really draws you in, and then your gameplay keeps you in because you're just a naturally funny guy.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think when I got my first VR set, I did some YouTube searching, and I didn't see much. I think I saw it. Nathy's the biggest one. I like him a lot. He was a cool guy. Rowdy, Josh Dubs. Those are about the only three that I liked, and then the rest were. I mean, everyone's good. I'm not saying I didn't like anybody, but they weren't for me. It wasn't like the type of YouTube videos I wanted to watch. That was pretty nuts, man. Only 3 people to watch with, millions of channels. That doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, I think it's the VR it's an investment. Obviously, anyone knows that who even thought of buying a VR headset. Like I have the PlayStation VR, but I was thinking of getting the Oculus before I got it because Rock Band had put out their VR game, and I was like, oh, that could be kind of cool. Of course, I looked into it, and it's not that great, but one of the deciding factors was how much space do you need, how much price compared to the VR for the PlayStation, and it was the PlayStation won because of that.
I looked into the PSVR first, and although I liked it and they have pretty good exclusives, it just wasn't the experience I was looking for at the time. And then I looked between the Oculus and the Vive after that, and I just went with the Vive since I had a scale feel. And thankfully, I got a fiance who is supportive enough to give me the entire spare bedroom. I let her run everything else, so it worked out for me.
Oh, so you're using the Vive, not the Oculus.
Using the Vive.
Ah, okay, okay. I got that wrong at the beginning. Sorry about that.
Don't matter. They're comparable, man. VR. I'm just glad people are playing VR. Don't matter which one.
So what got you into VR gaming, and what keeps you into it?
Getting into it, I mean, I'm big. I used to play Magic the Gathering as a kid. I love anime. Fantastical, something that's more than just real life. As much as I love real life, I have a great time, but jump out, kill a dragon, fight somebody. I mean, can't do. And when I first heard about it and saw a couple videos, I'm like, that's it. I mean, you put on a headset, you put on a nice pair of comfy headset, and earphones that block out all the noise, and you're there. I mean, that's there. But and what's keeping me here is just kind of I don't know how old you are. I'm 28, so
25.
25. So I was to almost everything. I mean, I didn't even get a Facebook until I was 20, and I think it came out and it got popular when I was 14. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always been late to everything, which isn't a problem. I'm not really that big on social media, but it just seemed like, hey, I've had this opportunity to be part of something from the beginning that I like, and that's what's keeping me going, because every day it's just I keep learning something new. I'm one of the first group in there, and it's a fun experience to be able to adopt something.
Mm-hmm. And what made you decide to start your YouTube channel? Was there someone who inspired you, like the people you listed, or was it just because you were bored and you didn't know what else to do?
it's one of those things. I mean, honestly, I've got no complaints in life. I love my fiance. My job is fun, but you got to have something that's your own to kind of just not feel worth, but just you want something that's yours. And was not seeing exactly what I wanted. I thought, why not do it myself? And I've always been competitive. I've been playing sports my entire life, so I thought not only can I do what I like and play video games, but I can be a little competitive and other VR channels. So I'm not gonna lie, competitiveness helps a lot in my motivation for it.
Do you still play sports and everything, or?
Competitive, well, nothing very competitive. I do power lift occasionally. Usually every winter I'll get back into it and just do, but just to see if I can beat last year's numbers. Wrestle from time to time still. I did that all throughout high school.
Okay. So,
yeah, nothing too competitive anymore.
So lifting weights, is that how you stay swole, as the kids would say?
That's the other passion. I get that anger out in the morning, go to work, and it's usually VR after. So I keep busy. I like it.
Would you say that the VR world is in itself its own workout?
I started wearing. I think for the first couple of videos I dressed up trying to look like I knew what I was doing. Maybe not dressed up, but I was putting a little effort into it. When I'm feeling just sweat dripping down my back, tank tops just came out, and I'm giving up. I want to be comfortable.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
After some of those horror games, I've got a towel around my neck just relaxing.
Yeah, the PSVR can also get pretty sweaty, and you can also get a good workout from that one as well. It's a new dimension to gaming that a lot of people haven't really seen or felt. I mean, the Wii kind of got close because you were moving your arms, but I mean, let's be honest here. Who was actually standing and playing Wii games?
We had a beer in one hand and playing it when we put it down.
Then you accidentally use the beer for the Wii remote, and everything goes south.
Yes.
So, the Vive controllers are kind of weird looking to me. Do they feel good in your hands? And what's the point of the circle at the top?
I've been wondering that damn question for a very long time. I find myself in a lot of games like, well, the loading screens. When you have loading screens in the Vive, you can see as they would be in real life on the screen. but you can like literally pull the circle up to your eye and look through it through the game like it was in your hand. And I think my best guess is the trigger that's on the bottom of them. Technically, when it's held out in front of you, I could see a signal going through there and hitting the trigger. I don't know.
So looking through it could possibly give you cancer.
Something like that. I mean, hey, if it's not the sun giving me it or all the alcohol I consume, it'll be this. Comfortable. Honestly, I can complain with the best of them, and I'd like to find a complaint for this, but honestly, this is going to sound kind of fanboy here with the Vive, but I haven't found any problems with it. I have people in my comment section tell me every now and then a game I played they had a problem with. Being blessed right now, just having no technical problems at all with it. So props to Vive. Right now
Oh, you cut out at the end of your sentence there. You said props to Vibe, and then it just cut out.
I mean, now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
They've basically impressed me. I mean, I haven't had a single problem. So they've made a good product to me, and I'm looking forward to investing a little bit more in them once I get a birthday gift to myself. I'm thinking about getting the wireless adapter they have.
Oh, yeah, no more cords, right?
They are not as annoying as people say. I found a good method to deal with it, but I am looking forward to just being able to walk around without a cord.
Yeah, when I was talking to Chronoside during the podcast, I think it was episode 8 or something like that. I said, the PlayStation VR, the next one needs to be wireless in some way because, like you, I don't mind the cords. Like they're fine. It's like there's not enough games where I'm walking around in the PSVR world that I'm going to be tripping over the wire, and even when there is one, it's not like it's going to take me out of the game to move the wire away from my body. But I think that the next step for VR would be going wireless and having a battery power that is pretty good. I mean, because obviously the technology takes a lot of battery power. So I understand why it's wired right now, but I could see it going wireless in the future, and Bluetooth maybe, huh?
See, the one that they just came out for the Vive, I think that from what I've watched and read, I've heard various things between 2 and 3 hours is what the battery life is. I was playing Xbox or PlayStation, that's not that much time because I could binge a game for quite a while.
Right.
But honestly, I have not played a VR game for probably more than an hour and a half at a time. I just getting sick or getting tired of the game. When you're moving around and it just feels the right. It's the right amount of time. You just naturally kind of come down from it and are ready to take a break.
And you don't seem to get motion sickness when you're playing, or are you just like putting up with it while you're playing? Because you played a lot of those high intensity games like Wolfenstein and stuff like that have a lot of motion in it. Are you motion sickness? I can't think of the right word right now, but do you get motion sickness?
Running to the bathroom after every recording.
Really?
But no. I've been lucky. I got a pretty iron stomach. The first game I ever played on the Vive, I just downloaded this game called Wizards, which I may go back to eventually. It was a pretty fun. Well, actually, that was the second game I played. The first game used the teleport function where you point and click, and I was no problems. The Wizards game had the first locomotion where you can walk in the game. And the first time that happened, I did get a little dizzy. Mm-hmm. But once I got that underneath my belt for about 20 minutes after that, I have never felt it. It's an extension of basically my body at that point. It feels very, very natural, very good. And I completely forget, if it's the right type of game that keeps you focused, the mechanics are good, meaning they're not just point and click. You're actually moving around and picking things up, and it's reactive. Sometimes forget you're playing a game until something happens that takes you out of the immersion, but it's very realistic sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get that. Especially on those games where it's like a roller coaster. Sometimes you can really get into that, and your stomach will feel the drops and stuff. It's cool.
Already?
What was that?
Have you played one of those roller coaster ones?
Yeah, I played a Rush of Blood for the PSVR, which was on a roller coaster, and you were shooting guns off of it. So it was kind of like a rail shooter. It was pretty cool.
Keep thinking about trying them, but I just seem to keep passing them. But I want to do one.
Out of all the games you've played on VR now, what would be your favorite so far?
Um, I want to give two. One, just because it was my first multiplayer game and I hadn't experienced that in VR, but standout battle royale game, so that was interesting. But there's something interesting about playing a multiplayer game in VR where characters around you know they're not using a joystick. So
Mm-hmm.
when they're pointing a gun at you in real life, you know, the controller, but they're still aiming at you and they're looking right at you. So just a character with a joystick who's looking at me because the model is made to is being tracked. And if he's not looking at me, he can't see me. And if he turns a little bit to the left, I know he still can't see me until he turns all the way around. And you're not just playing online. These people, they're really looking at you, and you've
Mm-hmm.
got to be aware of that. So that was cool.
And you
So that
you were
game is one
actually
of my favorite.
you were actually pretty good at that game too. With that P90, you were you were capping people.
That's with that game. I hate that gun. I hate that gun, and I kept finding it, and it just ended up working. But God, everyone who had their AK-47s and M16s, and I'm over there with a little pew pew gun. I do not like that gun. I will stand by that, even though it made me win.
Not to get off track here, but I know I was playing the Killing Floor Incursion game on the VR, and I was having a lot of trouble moving and shooting while holding like a dual weapon. What's the easiest way to? Because you have to hold like shotguns and assault rifles with both hands, or else you can't shoot them. What would be an easy way to kind of get around that?
Actually, haven't had too much experience with the PSVR. What's the locomotion like on that game? How did you move?
Oh, well, you move by pushing the buttons on the Move controller. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why it was a little bit more difficult because you have joysticks on those, right?
It's kind of so there's a circle trackpad where you can either push on it and right, but it's also sensitive enough where if you just kind of hovered your finger over it and lightly touched it, it will also respond.
Oh, okay.
So technically, when I'm holding both hands, my thumb is still completely free, pretty natural to move while you're shooting on that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll probably have to try one eventually because that Killing Floor game's almost impossible to play because of that.
But
um, but yeah, you also had a second game you said?
oh, just anything in the horror genre. Just not only because I like it, but Beyonce, the first time she tried one, I think she had the same experience. You know, I do you like horror?
Yeah, I love horror.
I think we watch a lot of horror movies or horror games, and there's a degree where I think our brain still wraps around because you're either looking at a screen or a monitor that it's still see your wall, you see your people next to you, and you kind of know what's coming. Or either way, you're not. There's a degree of separation. It's
Mm-hmm.
still scary, but there's a separation, and your brain knows that. Horror game, which I have not did not record. I might go back to that game. It was just a person, very low texture quality, but it was a great. He did a phenomenal job. Um, I couldn't even get past the second door in the game, and had not been scared yet.
Mm-hmm.
My brain couldn't wrap around. I think it felt too real,
Oh
and
man.
there wasn't that separation that I've been used to as a kid and growing up with horror that gonna actually get me, and I still feel like that every now and then. It's cool.
Yeah, it sounds really really cool. Yeah, I have a few VR horror games. Some of them have been pretty good. Some of them have been pretty bad. But I wanted to know, since there are a lot of games kind of being ported to VR right now, like Borderlands was just announced. There's a Fallout one. There's a Skyrim one for the Oculus and the Vive. What other games would you want to see come to the VR in the future?
I think Rainbow Six Siege would be awesome. I've never played it, but something about a really beast
Like a
kill,
tactical shooter?
like with the rappelling down the walls, and I watched a lot of let's plays on or streams of Rainbow Six Siege, and I see that they're rappelling down a building and going upside down. They're using drones, and I mean, being able to do that in VR, that would be insane. That'd be cool.
Well, what games do you think wouldn't work? Like, I'm sure like platformers and stuff like that, but like, what first-person games would you think would be pretty terrible trying to play with?
I think many of these, so I'm not sure, but something about the games right now that are like hack and slash, they're fun, but it gets to the point sometimes where I feel like I'm just swinging as hard as I can, as quick as possible.
Yeah, kind of like
No,
Fruit Ninja.
yeah, actually, and I just at first I try to be realistic, and I'm gonna block and I'm gonna swing strategically, and then I realize it doesn't really pay off for the fences, and it kind of takes out a little bit of the immersion to it. They need to figure out some way to feedback to blocking or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I think it would take a like a Ready Player One type of VR to do something like that.
I'm hoping that's coming. I see Nathy every now and actually no, he plays in all his videos. He wears a full haptic suit.
Oh, really?
Talk about it much, which kind of bugs me. I'd like him to tell us, like, he just played Creed, the new boxing game.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing the suit, and he didn't really talk about. And I was interested in that. People are punching him. Is he feeling it? I'd like to know more about that.
It might just be for show. You never know.
Or do. That's true.
So one of the last questions I had today for you was, when you started your channel out about 2 months ago, you started with just a regular gameplay video of you playing that one really rage-inducing game. Why start with that game? Was it just like the jump off of, like, learning, or what?
What I was doing at all. I was gonna do Monday. I was gonna do like 3 days a week. I was gonna do horror, and then some type of like rage games. I had no plan, and I think I did that the first, and being on camera after that, and after that, I played one VR game and realized that
That was your call.
I didn't. I didn't have as much fun with the. I think I tried recording a second rage game one day.
Mm-hmm.
Got about 15 minutes in recording, and just realized I wasn't having fun, and that's not good. You want to just do what's fun and don't force anything.
Yeah, and actually that's a good segue into the last question for today is, what do you think? What do you think is the reason why you've been growing as fast as you have been on YouTube? And I know you kind of touched on it a little bit in your Proof YouTube is Not Hurting Small Channels in 2018, which is a great video if you guys want to check that one out on the channel. So can you answer that question for me?
Positivity, man. It's infectious. I think ourselves a little bit. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to say I don't get down on myself a lot. If I don't get, a certain amount of views, it just, grinds you, but you can't let it affect you. And although there's a big thing for that, because it's like you make videos, you put them up, and then your only feedback and communication with people is the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't get the comments you want, there you kind of feel alone a little bit. So I've just been talking with everyone. If I see someone having a bad day, I'll talk with them, invite them to my Discord. People just want to feel like a part of something, and they just want to know that even if their video wasn't getting views, as long as people were there for them and listening. And I spent about kind of blessed with my job to be able to dictate my day, so I could be by my computer quite a bit, and I spend most of my day just talking with people and seeing what's up with them. How can I help? And it takes a community, man. I don't care how big I get or how small I am. I'm going to keep doing that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Little difficulties there.
Do you have a pet, a dog?
Dude, and he just ran right into the mic. 120-pound Rottweiler.
Wow, yeah. I just have a little 20-pound Jack Russell, so I can see how that could be a train wreck. Does the dog ever barge in when you're playing VR?
He's a good dog. He likes to just lounge around. He hangs with my fiance's cat. They get along. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it's a nice little happy cat dog family.
So, the official last question for today. Now, I know you are very good at your thumbnail game here. What's the secret to making the best thumbnail for YouTube to get people to click on the video?
I appreciate that. I always wondered if they were any good. I like bright colors, fun stuff. Explosions seem to be doing pretty good. I might just put explosions in every single one of mine because
Yeah.
very well. But I think people, when they look at thumbnails, it's just, I mean, bright colors, look goofy, throw something fun in there. I mean, I know people they are a serious thing because, I mean, between titles and thumbs, go to, but just have fun with your thumbs. I think people know when you're having fun, know when you're trying to be cookie cutter. Everyone can appreciate some explosions, so just throw explosions in them.
Explosions everywhere.
Or if you can just throw them in your video, everyone loves a good explosion.
All right. Well, that's all the time I have today with Eric for President. Remember, all of his links will be down below, YouTube and Twitter. Eric, actually, I should say, Mr. President, is there anything else you want to say before we end the show?
Oh, man, this was a lot of fun. I was pretty nervous at the beginning of this, but I'm looking forward to hearing this where VR goes, because whenever they come out with that standalone unit, the first PS4, Xbox 360 version of it, what people will do, because I want to see everyone play it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
The future, can't wait for that. It seems so far away right now, but hey, our cell phones can do VR. I don't see why they couldn't make a mini console VR headset.
To just be able to talk with people when that happens, and water cooler experiences. It's gonna be a blast.
Hell yeah, man. All right, well, I am your host, Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of the Ferret Business Podcast.